Maryville, I'm Sammy Hellauer. Coming up on this edition of The Bark, Brianna Brown takes center stage at the auditorium and puts on a show-stopping performance. As the fall semester begins, we take a look at the changes made to campus, including the popular LJs. Speaking of changes, we'll take a deeper look at the newest faces on campus, the class of 2018. The weather is changing, and as the leaves begin to fall, we know that homecoming is quickly approaching Maryville's campus. Some exciting events for the upcoming week include Mr. Maryville on Monday, October 6th at 7 p.m. Then balloon painting is at 11 a.m. on Tuesday the 7th, followed by lip sync at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. Don't forget to go cheer on your teams. And lastly, the bonfire is on Friday, October 10th at 9 p.m. Make sure you don't miss these exciting activities. For more information on fall festival activities, check out CAB's website at the link shown below. On September 13th, students gathered in the auditorium for a night filled with a variety of live music from rising St. Louis singer Brianna Brown. Our very own Brianna was there to get the singer's reactions before and after her performance.
Thank you, Sammy. We are here at the Brianna Brown concert at Maryville University's auditorium, and as you can see, the students are here full of energy and excited for tonight. Brianna Brown is an upcoming St. Louis vocalist sponsored by the Kwame Foundation, and we had a chance to talk to her earlier and catch up and ask her about how she felt about performing live here at Maryville for the first time. How did you start becoming a singer and stuff?
When I was really young, I started singing, and I actually went to high school for it, and I'm in college for it now, so it's just been throughout the years and stuff.
Okay, so recently I talked to one of your managers, and she told me how you started the program, and so can you tell us a little bit more about how you actually got booked at Maryville and how you got started here?
Okay, well, earlier this year in March, I was the first participant in the annual Live Your Dream Foundation scholarship, and there was a concert, and I guess some people from Maryville, people from all over came in and they saw, and through the Kwame Foundation's, going through them, we kind of set this whole thing up.
So are you excited for tonight?
I'm really excited. I hope everyone else is excited.
We are here at Maryville University's auditorium with Teran Mullins. He is the Assistant Director of the Multicultural Programs. And so Teran, how did you get connected with Brianna, and what are the steps that you have to take to get performers here?
Typically what we do is we go to different conferences and we just search around for different artists in the St. Louis area that we feel would be a good fit for Maryville, and then we just work with their agent and get them booked and invite the campus out and have a good time.
We are back with Brianna Brown after the concert, and so Brianna, how did you feel about that?
I think it went really great. That was the first time I've ever done an encore, so I think that means they liked it.
She did very well. The crowd loved her. Everybody loved her. The sound was amazing. I know they said that you were going to be opening for someone. Who was it again?
Chrisette Michelle, Grammy Award-winning Chrisette Michelle, so that's a big deal.
And she's on Hip Hop LA or something like that on a reality TV show?
R&B Divas that comes on TV One, and yeah.
And when is this going to be again?
September 25th, Thursday. Doors open at 8. So anyone over 21 can buy tickets and get in.
There you go, guys. Make sure you get your tickets now and do not wait at the last minute. That was Brianna Brown here at Maryville University live for the first time. Thank you.
Thanks, Brianna. The concert was a good way to kick off the semester, and we will be sure to check out many more activities and events on campus. Kyle takes a look at the new pub on campus and other changes to the university. Now over to Kyle at LJ's.
Thank you, Sammy. As students may be noticing, there are a lot of new additions to campus this year. A look outside and you'll see new sidewalks near the quad, and of course continued construction on Walker Hall, which will be covered in a future edition of The Bark. But the DUC has maybe seen the most changes in the past few months. There are new seating options, and most notably, Louis and LJ's have opened up new doors for students to have more places to go.
So LJ's is intended to be a hangout space for students, a place that students can come and catch the latest game, play buzz time trivia, somebody's taking a nap on the couch as we speak. A place for students to really just gather and hang out, gives them especially a late night space. Louis is a food service alternative, so the dining hall is a great place on campus, of course, but Louis gives a different type of menu. It provides a late night food option. It's open until midnight or 1 a.m., so it provides a different style of food and a different timing for that food as well. One of the most popular things I've heard so far are the quesadillas and the jalapeno poppers, so students are really liking those. There's also hand-dipped ice cream, which is kind of the only place on campus that you can get hand-dipped ice cream as well. So a lot of unique options that you don't normally have perhaps accessible in the dining hall, for example. So here at LJ's there are 19 televisions, 5 of them being 80 inches. Students have full control over those TVs. You can get any of the channels that we have available on campus, which includes pretty much all of the sports channels, the NFL network, the NFL Red Zone channel, the MLB network, all of those channels, the SEC network, for example. We have Buzz Time Trivia and Buzz Time Hold'em available, so we've got tablets that are over on the wall for students to just grab, and they can play at any point in time. So a student can literally pick any TV in the room, any of the 19 TVs, go over to the wall, touch the screen and say, I want on TV number 17, I want it to be ESPN, or I want it to be Buzz Time Trivia, and they can do that. We do have a couple of dart boards. We've got different types of seating. We've got a fireplace that'll be up and running as the weather gets a little bit colder, and students will have full control over all of those. This is my 12th year here as an employee, and in my 12 years here, I think the idea of sort of a campus hangout spot, a pub-style place, a sports pub-style place, has been talked about almost every year I've been here. The idea originated from students. Students have been saying, we would love to have a hangout place. We'd love to have a place that replicates kind of a Buffalo Wild Wings type of place that we'd like to go to. And so that's exactly what we did. We took that student feedback. It came from students. We met with them to get the design ideas, to get the types of features that they wanted to have in here, and then throughout last spring semester we really nailed down the specifics. Construction happened over the summer. Here we are. The feedback has been great. Students love the space. They enjoy the types of features that are in here. Mostly I think they're shocked that they have the type of control that they do over the space, that they can come in here and change any TV to be on any channel that they want. They so far have been really responsive to that.
LJ's is a pretty legit place that they've turned into from the CSE East, which is where I used to work. Being a workstation student, I used to work out of the CSE East, and they've taken that space and really turned it into something special, because it used to only have one flat screen, and now they've turned it into a really nice, somewhat of a pub type experience for, commuters and kids that stay on campus alike.
We have been having some conversations, I don't know how quickly it'll happen, maybe as early as next summer, where we're going to do a little bit more renovating to try to get the Center for Student Engagement a little bit more prominently located, to provide more services and exposure to our students. And the whole concept with the patio is really to try to connect the library building, the DUC, and Simon Center as sort of this mall almost of 3 buildings that are really connected to each other as the life hub of campus. So you're gonna see some things happen outside. You'll see some things happen in each of these buildings. If you've been in the library this year, you've already seen that some of those renovations are taking place in the library. You're gonna start seeing every year, you'll start seeing some things happening to Simon Center as we improve that space, and then we're gonna continue to make some improvements to this space. Those 3 buildings being the key life hubs for the campus, the key places, the key buildings where campus life really happens for our students. So we're really trying to build that up.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I got for you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come talk with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. With all the info on updates around campus, I'm Kyle Henley. Back to you, Sammy.
Thanks, Kyle. We are excited to see what LJ's has to offer. Along with other new spaces on campus, we also have many new students. Welcome, class of 2018. We are happy you decided to join our Maryville community. Our own Mike was able to shine the spotlight on a couple of freshmen.
Thanks, Sammy. I'm outside the library. We met with Jen McCluskey to scratch the freshman class of 2018.
My main roles include the successful transition of students coming from wherever they were before, high school, community college, and a successful transition into Maryville. So there can be a lot of bumps and obstacles along the way, and so trying to help them make sure that that transition is a positive one. And so everything from the START program, academic advising for new incoming students, as well as orientation, the university seminar course I help to oversee, and then also just the overall freshman experience. So. Yes, it has increased. The freshman class has increased, and it's anticipated, census is next week, but we anticipate it'll be about 430 students in the first year class, whereas last year it was just over 400. The makeup of this incoming freshman class, the average ACT is about a 25, and the average high school GPA of the students coming in is a 3.65. So very, very academically focused students. One of the reasons I love working here, they're really focused on their academics and want to do well. So this freshman class represents almost 20 states. There's about 65% from Missouri, but our highest number of students from out of the area, Illinois is the second, and then California. So we have a good group coming from California. Just in general, the institution overall, we are certainly focused on growing our student population, first year students in particular, and so our incoming population is about 70% female, 30% male, and that really speaks to the type of majors we have in a lot of ways. But yes, we strategically and intentionally are growing as an institution. One of the newer populations, as we've grown geographically, is students from out of the area, and so we're really focusing on how can we make sure that students from out of the area are having a positive experience and connecting on campus. And Louis and LJ's opening is one of the pieces to that we have an active and vibrant campus life all the time, and so that's been a fun initiative to kind of focus on. We're retaining at a great rate. 87% is our retention rate. We're second in St. Louis only to Washington University, so we have a very high retention rate, where 10 years ago it was more in the mid-70s, which is pretty average for colleges our size. But at 87%, we are really intentional about what areas we focus on. So as the class grows, we continue to look specifically at, okay, what are those pockets of cohorts, if you will, that we really want to pay attention to.
Hi, my name's Corinne, and I chose Maryville because of their fantastic OT program and the small hometown campus feel.
I'm Erin Ginsberg. I also chose it for the OT program, and also the soccer team, so that was a big part of my campaign.
Hi, I'm Molly. I chose Maryville because the OT program and how small it was. I'm from Washington, Missouri, and I applied to Maryville, Mizzou, and SIUE, and I chose Maryville because it was closer to home and a smaller campus.
I'm from a small city outside of Chicago called Cary, Illinois. I pretty much knew I was going to come here for soccer, so I didn't really apply anywhere else. But I chose here because of the soccer program. And it was like a further enough distance away from home, but it wasn't too far. So.
I'm from Gillespie, Illinois, and I applied to Eastern Illinois, and I chose Maryville over Eastern because of the OT program, and it was closer to home and smaller.
So far, I love it here. Everyone's real nice. Some expectations I have for myself is just keep my grades up and meet more people.
So far, I really like it at Maryville. I've met a lot of really cool people, and I hope to continue to meet. I love it here so far. It's really community, and I hope to meet.
Thanks, Sammy. Back to you.
Thanks, Mike. It's shaping up to be a great semester here at Maryville with the new faces, events, and places. Make sure to tune back in for the next edition of The Bark. But in the meantime, check out Maryville Paw Print for your local Maryville news and more. Next up is Saints Talk with Andy, Josh, and Mike. Thanks for listening, Maryville, and don't forget to let the dogs out.
Initiate podcast. Saints Talk, sports time, excellent.
Alright, welcome to Saints Talk. So today is our first live video show. Now today we're going to be talking about a few different things, including the podcast itself, and then a few general things about what's happening in St. Louis.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, I like to talk about sports, and I like other people to hear me talk about sports, so I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, same here. Love talking about sports. So we're actually going to go ahead and start off with the segment we like to call Mike's Moments.
Mike's Moment.
Alright, go ahead, Mike.
Welcome to Mike's Moment. Please welcome my guest today, Dr. York, the professor in the communication department and the advisor of the Saints Talk Sports Podcast. Dr. York, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start out by asking, what do you see as the end result of the Saints Talk Sports Podcast, being the official podcast on Maryville's campus?
When thinking about how we can take student media to the next level, right, we want to use new media as much as possible. Right, so we got rid of the traditional newspaper. We're now on e-media as far as paw print goes. I was trying to think, what can we do beyond that? Right, what are we using in society nowadays as far as video, as far as podcasts? Nowadays, this new digital media is expected not only by everyone, but obviously for the college-age student. They expect this kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You expected, I'm sure, videos, audio, all these other elements, not just, that same newspaper that mom and dad used, right? So that's really what I was hoping to get the new age digital usage.
Yeah, definitely. So that kind of goes like, how did you see the podcast influencing the athletic department? Do you think there'll be more attendance at events or different events being created by the students?
I hope so. I actually like what you are doing specifically with the Mike's Moment, where you're bringing in individuals from the sports realm of Maryville. Yeah. I hope that we almost create a bond. We can tell the story of some of our student athletes, some of our athlete staff members. We tell their stories here, so listeners will hear that and say they'll feel a little more of a connection, right? Yeah, they know, I know Susie because she was interviewed on Saints Talk. I'm gonna go watch her in the softball game. I know who that is, right? I can kind of put a personality behind the players. I think if we almost put a spotlight on them outside of the realm, we'll send maybe more emphasis during the game and say, hey, I know exactly who that is. That's what my hope is.
Yeah, definitely. So do you see other majors creating podcasts or blogs so they can share information and events going on in their fields?
I hope so. I really do hope so. I think, again, coming back to where is culture in general going? Not just Maryville student media, but all media, just nationwide, right? That specifically college-age students, and obviously college-age students will turn into the late 20s, the late 20s will turn into the late 30s. How are they getting information, right? Obviously, your communication, this is the bread and butter right here. But what if you are psychology, right? You still need information from your degree. Are you still going to be reading articles, or are you going to be listening to a podcast about psychology, a video, once a week video program on YouTube about psychology? What if a new element comes up? Right now, podcast, video, that's kind of the new thing right now, right? That's the digital contemporary. 10 years from now, it'll be completely different. Yeah. Right? We won't use that, so what's the next thing? So I hope not just communication, but all elements will use this to get their message out.
Yeah, especially for the students that don't live on campus where they won't see a flyer posted.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that shows like just how far paw print and the podcast have come, because I remember our first semester that I wrote for the paw print, there was only 6 students that wrote for it. So how do you think that the growth will be? Did you ever think it would be this far?
You know what? I knew we were going to grow. I didn't know how quick, I did not realize how quick it would be. I think it shows that the Maryville students want to be involved of student life, okay? Because this is more than just communication, right? This isn't just for communication majors or communication minors. This is everyone. When I first started, when you were in class, they were all there's 6 communication students. Yeah. Now you sit in a Paul print, we have the bar, the video. Not everyone is a communication major. We have students in the nursing program, we have students in the science, biology program. So it's more of a student life kind of feel than specifically just communication. But I think it's just fascinating because obviously we get our thoughts as comm people, but we're not the entire voice, right? Yeah. What are other students doing out there? So I think that this is almost merging to the outside of the classroom, that student life element, which I find really exciting.
Yeah, I feel it really gives the students a voice where they can put their own opinions about topics going on campus, as well as people that just submit articles that aren't formally writing for the Paw Print. Absolutely. But Andy, Josh, didn't you have something to say?
Yeah, no, I really liked what you were saying about how we want to connect with the different athletes around Maryville's campus. That's really going to be a big thing. We're going to do a bunch of player spotlights and all that different kind of stuff. So really excited to start talking more about that.
I mean, I just want to know, like, is there any specific podcast or, radio show you're trying to base this off of, or take elements from each, or what can you tell us about that?
You know what? I'm a really big fan of the setup and traction that the Mike and Mike gets from the ESPN's Mike and Mike. Yeah, I think they do a fantastic job, right? They play off each other. The way they kind of really play off what one another is saying is fantastic. They have the humor. They obviously talk about sports, but they also talk about things outside of that, right? They're talking about athletes outside of the field of play, right? What's going on, ethics of sports, having this almost humor conversation associated with it, but also at the same time can have that serious conversation. And I almost feel like after I listen to Mike and Mike, right? It's so interesting. Like, I watched it before it became a show, right? Now you can just watch it on TV. But I listened to the radio series for so long, and I never knew what they looked like. So it's so interesting. You'll listen to someone forever and finally see what they look like. Oh, I feel like it's my buddy, right? Mike and Mike. I feel like I'm friends with them. I have all these conversations. It's kind of interesting to see them. So I like that show quite a bit.
Yeah, and that'll be really interesting because we have this video part as well as an audio part. So everyone's going to be able to listen to us talk, and then, like you said, they can see our faces through the video. So
absolutely,
which I'm particularly excited about. I like my face.
I think Mike likes the camera, a little too much, but
it's good.
But yeah, then I also want to go back to the Paw Print. How it started really small for you guys, and then whenever I started Paw Print, it was a very large class. So I came into it thinking it was a huge thing, and we started this broadcast, and that was really small. Now you guys are doing this whole broadcast thing. We have this podcast going, so this is getting really cool.
Yes, and like you said, when you started, it was only 4 people on the bark, right? Only 4 people they're over there filming. I think there are 12 people now, and not just in one semester. When you did Paw Print, it was 6 people, and then it grew into I think it was 20. Okay, now that's why this time for Saints Talk is so neat. It's such a cool part to be just involved in this, right? That who knows what this will be in 1 year. Right? Yeah. Who knows what it'll be then? So it's kind of neat to be on that ground floor.
Right. And the really interesting part is, if you don't know, is the location of our podcast, our broadcast, and Paw Print itself. Mike, if you want to go ahead and just kind of tell them where we're at,
Yeah, we're currently in the annex. It is the official Paw Print room, but we're looking to move to a bigger room, more professional, more as if it were a radio station. Do you have any input of where we'll be going in the future, or how they'll be upgrading where we're at now?
As of right now, we don't have a schedule of what's going to happen to student media. Obviously, I think we all see that the annex specifically has a somewhat of a schedule before it's has structural issues. Right now, there's no plans going forward, but as I understand, there is a kind of push to make this, student life. I think that's really just the neat part, where this student media is more than just a class, right? It's more than just people come up, get 3 credit hours, and go away. I think it'd be really neat to be part of the student environment. If we had some ability to have, even for Saints Talk, what if we had one of those soundproof glass windows where people could walk by and say, hey, there's a live show. We get a live on air. We just recently bought the on air sign, right? Turn that on. It's kind of neat to walk by and see someone, interviewing live at any point. I think that just helps with student life in general. Kind of neat in the future.
Yeah, it'll give that feel like, hey, I'm at a real radio station. And I'm not at school.
Absolutely.
I do love this place because it's kind of like secluded almost. So like it's on campus, but we kind of feel like we're our own thing.
Absolutely.
I was a little creeped out at first about the annex, to be honest, coming over here to work on a couple of videos alone and stuff. But now it's like really a lot of people are coming here.
Yeah.
Josh, did you have an impression on the annex at first?
I'm not gonna lie, as a freshman, I had no idea what this is, what it was, or where it was. So, I mean, that was kind of a shock. I was like, oh, we have an old house on campus that's now being used for media. I didn't know that. And, now I'm a freshman. Like, hey, where's your class at? Oh, I'm in the annex. Like, what is the annex?
Yeah, and then, like, with this room itself, I just kind of stumbled upon one day whenever I was coming in here with public safety. It's just like, what's in the back of the annex? And we opened it up, and there's this whole studio in here with these microphones and this soundboard and everything. So that was just really cool, and we just kind of decided, take the podcast to another level.
Yeah. I mean, we do have our own closet still.
Yeah, I have to start making some new decorations around the area, maybe.
There's some small ceramic teddy bears. Could become our mascot. I'm not sure. We'll have to decide on that.
I think it says toward the communication program and just Maryville in general that if you're interested in doing something, let's do it. Right? Yeah. And some of the big universities, so like my undergrad program was a big state school. If you had an idea, say, I want to start a podcast, you'd have to go through so many levels, and maybe 2 years later, we would create something. But that's kind of says something toward Maryville, where we can create this. If you're interested in something, tell someone, and we'll get off the route.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so now I just kind of want to open up for general conversation on different things. I know we were talking about fantasy football earlier.
Yes.
So if you guys have anything on football, maybe Rams.
I'm 3-0 on my fantasy league. I'm the only undefeated team in my fantasy league, so I'm riding high right now. 3-0.
On the opposite at 0-3. So you might not want my advice, but I could come around.
I'm also 0-3, but I'm also the reigning league champion. So I think my team can make a resounding comeback and rally around Aaron Rodgers and play good football.
Man, I just missed the deadline this year, but my team, the Straight Cash Homies, as Randy Moss would say, almost won our league last year. We came in third.
So yes. It's fun. It's my first year of actually taking it serious and trying playing. So
yeah, I heard you had a trade or something you were trying to wheel in there.
I tried for about 2 days. It took me 2 days of texting. Tried a 3-way trade. Right. If you've played fantasy football, it's very hard to do.
Ooh,
right?
3-way. We're getting complicated now.
Yes, it wasn't just 1-on-1. So I spent 2 days on this very strategic plan. Right, a lot of strategic thinking behind this, and my commissioner vetoed it. After it all went through, after all the 2 days of all this planning, my commissioner vetoed it.
Wow.
Because it was unfair. I was like, hey, I can't take credit for whooping you all through my great team. But,
yeah, the champion and PR wordsmith over here trying to get a little advantage in his league. It seems like
you got to use what you have in class for outside of class, right? Where you can't.
That's what we're learning as well. To get people to make the trades that we want them to make in fantasy football.
That's what we're taught with communications. How to get the best fantasy football trades for our teams.
Yes.
Or how to get a career,
or a job. Yes.
That's the more helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's good. What do you guys think? Who the Rams play this week?
They are on a bye week.
Bye week.
Thankfully, my eyes were bleeding last week.
Hey, it wasn't too bad. We almost beat the Cowboys.
We were up 21-0, and then we fell apart like somebody took out the bottom of a Jenga set.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, with Austin Davis playing, he's a rookie, so he'll learn as he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting with the new quarterback, coming in off the waiver wire and everything after Sam Bradford. Sean Hill, he gets hurt.
Yes.
Then this guy has to step up, so it's kind of like we had a master defensive plan, and then now we don't have an offense. So it's just kind of rebuilding once again, which is unfortunate, but we'll see how it goes.
And now all of a sudden we have an offense. Davis has been phenomenal, better than anyone can expect. Last game, I think he showed more than Bradford showed in his three years here.
And soon they're gonna leave us.
Yes. I put in my resume. They haven't called me back yet. I try to be their quarterback. They never called. So, but
yeah, I thought maybe wide receiver, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about it for the first video.
All right.
Glad to have you in here, Dr. York.
Hey, thank you for having me, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks again.
That was good.
All right. Well, make sure to tune in. Next week we should have our audio piece out. And then in a couple weeks, we'll have another video that you can watch. Thanks for joining us on Saints Talk.
And go Saints.